We're going to have a look at what we call the best thing since sliced bread. It's to do with marketing, but it's not going to be a dry, boring lecture. Don't think you've come along tonight to sort of hear somebody come and say, this is how to do marketing. You're going to learn a lot tonight, but you're going to learn it on a journey. We're going to go on So the idea that we're thinking about here is, do we have a product or service that actually is needed by somebody else? Is it dependent on somebody else? And this is a good example of that. This is the launch of the mechanical pre-sliced wrapped bread maker. On the 7th of July 1928, a former jeweller called Otto Rohrweder developed what he would call the pre-sliced bread maker. It was a machine that... What Chester Woolworth found, of course, that rather than the new development, the new invention, being his ticket to success, it turned out to be his route to failure. So why was that? It's very, very simple. He'd overlooked the most basic thing which a lot of us tend to overlook. He concentrated on the product, he didn't concentrate on the buyer. Now if he had, he would have learned a little bit more about buyer behaviour. So to be learned from the big boys. Make sure that you fully understand the market and, more importantly, what's happening in the future. One thing and one thing alone, consumer demand. If you've developed the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if the customer can't see a benefit, you're doomed to failure. So there are the main reasons why products fail, and I want you to just look at that list which we've just gone through, and in your mind just decide, and if you want to shout out you can do, which one out of those do you think is the one that always comes out tops, the one that is the most usual one for products or services failing?
No demand.
No demand. You'd expect that, wouldn't you? You'd expect the fact that if there's no demand, then clearly they aren't going to sell it. Not the one that comes out tops. Yeah, insufficient finance is difficult for all of them at the moment, but you know, if the product is good, if the thing's service, whatever, they will find the money. So is marketing more to do with branding? Is that what marketing really is all about? Right? So how does that work? Because we're now working in a global marketplace. This is a place where branding seems to be the be-all and end-all, a place where marathons have suddenly become Snickers, Ultra Fruits have suddenly turned into Starbursts, and those of you who buy cleaning products will know that Jif is now called Cif, mainly because the Spanish can't pronounce the letter J. We're working in a global marketplace. What the brand means to the consumer. We're now seeing that with Apple, with Facebook, and certain brands nowadays have got this almost evangelical connection with the consumer. Let's be truthful. The Coke brand have got very little to do with the product inside. If you ask people what is the product inside, people would have no idea. It's got very little to do with the product. It's got everything to do with what the brand stands for. We see this really, really importantly now, as I said, particularly with Apple products and Facebook and so on and so on. People don't really know what things do, but you know, I've got an iPhone, I've got an Apple, I've got a Facebook and all the rest of it. Well, first thing you do is make sure that people understand how your product is positioned. You need to understand how they perceive your brand. You could carry out what's called a perception survey, finding out if you mentioned X, Y, Z, what kind of reaction would you have? You know, because is Virgin the brand, or is it Richard Branson? Is Dyson the vacuum cleaner the brand, or is it James Dyson the inventor? And what happens when the brand becomes intrinsically linked with the person, and that person then goes on to devalue the brand? You've got to be acting local, but you've got to be thinking global. That's got to be your new maxim for the 21st century. So if you're developing new products, new brands, new ideas, you've really got to sit down and think to yourself, is this internet specific? And how would I promote it over the internet? Because it takes a different approach than it would be if you opened a shop with just a name above. See, traditional marketing depends on that. To ask yourself the question, what is the difference between marketing and selling? Well, marketing is dead straightforward, it's that. Marketing is just ensuring the fact that you're producing something that the customer wants to buy, whereas selling is making sure that your customer buys what the business produces. This is the most effective one, this is the least effective one. This is Hoover, I'm rid of all these washing machines. This is you. Let's find out what people want and let's provide a service or a product which people actually do need. Then you've got